statement, then we'll let you go ahead.
I just want to go back to the 7% interest rate. First of all, we looked at this about a month ago when there was another group here that was just being assessed for a project that was done, and we had this discussion about the 7%. So for some of us up here, it's kind of old hat. And this is why, frankly, I would rather have the discussion with the council, because a lot of this is policy decision. It's not staff decision. But to the city administrator's comment, my understanding is that our policy currently reads that it's 1% over our cost for the interest rate. So if it were a 12% interest rate that it would cost us, that person would have been assessed 13%. They'd be assessed 1% over our costs. The problem is that policy was written many years ago, back when nobody would have ever thought that it would come below 7%. That's why it says that there's a minimum of 7% interest rate. And the question was, what is the interest rate? What I had a little discussion with earlier on the consent calendar was another pavement management project. And I'll tell you exactly what we're looking at for an interest rate, or for what our experts have projected. Starting next year, it's going to be a 0.5% interest rate on that loan. And then over the next 14 years or so, it's going to go up to 2.9% interest. So we're charging citizens 7% over, at the high end, it's 2.9% interest, but it's going to start out at 0.5%. So those citizens are paying, at the high end, at the low end, 4% over what we're being charged. And at the high end, they're being charged 6.5% over what we're paying. So the projects 10 years ago that were charged 8% when the interest rates were 7%, they only paid 1% more. The ones that paid 10% when it was 9%, they paid 1% more. These citizens are going to pay 6.5% more in the first year. So why are you paying 7% interest rate? You shouldn't. That's the bottom line.